How would you like to make $25,000 today? Now, of course, I can't promise that's going to actually happen to you, but by crazy means, it actually happened to me once last year. And it happened as soon as I finished reading this book, Money and the Law of Attraction. When I first heard about the law of attraction, I was a massive skeptic, right? I thought it was absolutely crazy. There's no way you can just like think things and then attract it into your life. But now, after 6 years of studying the law of attraction, I realized this one thing: whether you believe in the law of attraction or not, it's always working for you. The challenge with most people is that they always think about what they don't want, and they always attract that into their life. So that's why they say it doesn't work, but in fact, they're actually creating their own reality and they're calling in the things that they don't actually want. When I came across this book, I was still a little bit skeptical, but I had been practicing the law of attraction for probably 4 years at that point, 5 years maybe, because this happened last year, this story that I'm telling you right now. And I sort of was making a little bit of progress and I sort of wasn't, but the biggest thing was I was actually so much happier, and whether I made money or not, I was always super happy. And that was one key thing that I didn't understand until this day. And I'm going to tell you about 3 more things that will absolutely change your life if you do implement them. The book isn't very big, so I'm going to leave a link down in the description below where you can go and check that out, get your own, whether you want to get it on Kindle or get the actual hard copy. The reason why I like Kindle is because I can like highlight stuff, and I've got a bunch of things highlighted in here. And some of the things which we're going to talk about in a second are actually things that you need to do on a daily basis. So highlighting is always really good. But basically the book isn't very big, and I read it in one afternoon and then I finished it off the next morning. And after I finished it off the next morning, that afternoon I had a call with a potential client. I had a digital marketing agency at the time. I was sort of in the early days looking to try and get some new clients, and I had experience running Facebook ads, which for people to pay me for Facebook ads at that point, they were paying about $2,500 US dollars, which at that point was about just over 3,000 Australian dollars. So my biggest sale in my business to that date was $3,000. But I put this new offer out into the market, and I really put the price up really high, because I figured if I'm going to spend so much time building out this particular strategy for a client, I want to make sure it's worth my time, because I could be doing that in my own business and making tons of money. So I wanted to make sure it's worth my time as well. Anyway, I got on this call with this client, and it was the easiest sales call in the entire world. Didn't really talk about prices that much, and the person was already ready to buy from me. And we just had a really fun conversation. Everything that they say happened in this book actually happened. And at the end, they said, okay, Mitch, what's your services? What's the price for your services to put this particular package together? I said, okay, great. So that'll be 17,000 US dollars. Back then, it was about 23,000 Australian dollars. And literally on the spot, they said, yep, no worries. Send me the invoice and I'll get that paid up. And I finished this book at 10 a.m., had the sales call at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Literally 4 hours later, I made $22,000. Why I say $25,000 here is actually, as we started to work together, they paid me another $3,000. That actually blew my mind. I remember I was texting my sister at the time. She actually asked me, she's like, do you have any books? I really want to read something new. And I was like, well, I actually just read this book and I made $25,000 that afternoon. So it's probably a good one to start with. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't really make much difference to me. I asked myself, as I've been transitioning this YouTube channel to new content, is like, if I could only talk about one thing for the rest of my life that's going to make the biggest impact, that is going to be completely consistent, that's going to help the most people, what would that be about? And that would be about the law of attraction, specifically around these teachings. And I'm just going to share the things that have been working in my life. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only share what I've been learning. And so far, the law of attraction has been the most consistent message. It's been the most life-changing. I feel so much better believing in it, whether it works or not. Just believing in it, you feel better. And I've got some pretty incredible results from being able to build multiple six-figure businesses, having one business acquired by a company in the USA, traveling around the world, just like having the best time ever meeting incredible people. So let's dive into 3 key takeaways that you can get from this book. But I would encourage you to actually go and purchase it yourself and really just try and get in the zone of reading it and believing it and just giving it a go. The only times that I've heard people complain about the law of attraction not working is because they essentially just give up. I've had desires that I wanted 5 years ago that are just starting to come into fruition right now. You can't really say that it doesn't work. Maybe it's just, breaking down some old patterns in order to help build new ones. And that's going to take a few years. But the more that you believe in it, the more it's going to happen and the better times you're going to have. So what were the 3 biggest takeaways from this particular book? Number 1 is the process of positive aspects. This is a exercise that I just do in my mind. It's super easy. I do it at night time when I get into bed. And that's simply just focusing on 3 things that were amazing that day. Whether that was somebody that I was hanging out with that day and I had created some great memories, whether it was just something funny I laughed at that day, or just something beautiful. Like, let me just show you this. Just looking out there every single day is one of my favorite things ever. And I'm super grateful that I actually get to have views like this, and that I can have something that really inspires me to do my work every single day. So just focusing on those 3 things right before I go to bed, you're going to bed in a really positive state, and then hopefully you're going to wake up in a positive state as well. Number 2 is the morning affirmation. In that book, like I said, there's stuff in there that you want to highlight. So there's a morning affirmation that I've now memorized that I say every single morning when I wake up. Sometimes I'll say it out loud, sometimes I'll say it in my head, sometimes I'll just move my mouth. Whatever I feel like in the day, when I do wake up, then I just say those things. And again, it helps me get my day off to a really positive start so that it creates that momentum cycle in the right direction. Whereas if you think about what most people do, they look at social media, they say all of the crazy things happening in the world, most of them not even true. And they start to freak out and go into this fearful state. And then that just starts to perpetuate for the rest of the day. That's why there's so much anxiety and depression in the world, because people aren't preparing themselves for the crazy world that we do live in every single day. So give that a go. And finally, when you do get onto these momentum cycles, what you'll find is that the better it gets, the better it gets. So it's just like this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That continues to get better and better each time. And it doesn't mean that I don't have bad days. I absolutely have bad days, but what I've now realized is that those bad days actually create a stronger desire for me to actually want to have good days. So they're absolutely essential. That's why I don't believe in this whole positive thinking thing. And it's one of the biggest misconceptions about the law of attraction, that it's always about thinking positively, where it's actually not. Those challenging times, those contrasting times, those times where you just want to hate on life and give up, they're actually probably some of the biggest gifts when it comes to the law of attraction, because that creates a stronger desire for what you actually do want, and you can go out there and hopefully achieve those things in a much faster way, because you can become much clearer about what you actually want to achieve. So that's the money and the law of attraction story that I have for you. Honestly, I've generated way more money since then at that point using these same strategies, and it just continues to get better, like that suggests. So if this doesn't sound too crazy to you, if you are, maybe you are crazy like me and you do want to continue learning this type of stuff, then definitely go check out that book. I'm definitely not the expert in when it comes to the law of attraction, but it is what I'm going to share. I'm going to share the things that have worked in my life by implementing these things over the last 5 or 6 years, and hopefully you can learn a little bit from that as well. So hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.